Welcome to Math Wizard team. So these are awesome team, right? And I hope all of you will have fun and you'll enjoy next 90 minutes of the session. So here is our new curtain logo. Okay. So first thing first, which is what we are going to cover today. We were talking about money last week. So we talked about the budgeting process and we spent a lot of time on it. So we'll do a little bit of recap of that and we'll also talk about how to make money grow. So the simple techniques of savings, we'll do recap of last week. We'll talk about a few new things. And also after we cover that, we'll try to do for 30, 40 minutes and then we'll talk about some of the geometry. So you know geometry, you all must have like done some part of the geometry already. Uh, so it'll be the same geometry, but there'll be some extended concept applied to it. And those will be a little bit of green teaser for you guys. And if you know the answer, great. If not, it'll be a lot of fun. Okay. And then similarly for algebra, I have a couple of questions and I picked up a few questions from the assignment I gave last week. And in the following sessions, if uh, I'll pick up the question where you guys have difficulty in doing it, right? So that way, every week we'll do one assignment, which is around 25 questions, and which is already assigned to you. You could do those questions, and if you get that wrong, that's perfectly all right. Uh, Idea in these classes is not to get 100% because if you know 100%, then you don't need me, and you can enjoy these next 90 minutes yourself. Idea is because there are newer and challenging problems that we want to do. I would like you to give it a try, right? Even if those are very difficult, you think like, okay, it's not going, I have no clue. But that's what our life does to us, right? And life doesn't tell us what kind of problem it's going to come next. It gives the problem as and when it wants to give the problem to us. And as a resilient human being, we take care of those problems. It just feels like it's difficult, but sometimes it's just a matter of trying harder. So if you want to learn math, it's really, really important that it's not just about uh, doing the problem that we know. It's about trying the problem that we don't know. And sometimes we feel have no clue. And that's when we need to exercise our brain. Uh, and it may look like, oh, why Mr. Yogi giving this kind of problem to us? We have never done anything. But remember, I'm giving the problem which you can do, but may require some special thinking. And that's what you need to do to enable your brain. You need to think, right? And even if you're able to do few of these difficult problems which you initially thought it was very hard, but if you can solve yourself, you'll understand the feeling of like achieving something. And that's the whole purpose of these classes, like the art of problem solving. And art of problem solving start with you. You take a problem, think over it, sleep over it. There are a lot of techniques, and and do something. If you don't understand anything, at least try. Because if you try and you can't get to an answer, and somebody else explain those answers to you, then that's like you grasp these concepts much better. But if you did not try and somebody explained the answer, you really don't remember these answers. You don't really understand the concept. So I really encourage you to do these hard problems with passion and energy. Okay, so that's about the agenda today. Not too many things. I want to keep it simple, and moving forward, I want to keep these things simple. So we'll go to the next one, next slide, right? So let's make my money grow. Let's recap that, and I would like you guys to speak too. So what we talked about last time, we did the budgeting session, right? So we did the budget. So what we did, we took our numbers and then we started doing the budgets around it. So what does it mean is that we assumed, like we started with rough idea of what budget should look like, and we identified there are some component. If once you start doing a job, you need to pay the rent and food, and we talked about how to to really estimate these number, how much will be the rent, and we spend a lot of time on transportation. It looks like, okay, if you think about it, yeah, it's cheap, or it's like $300 or $1,000, and we really broke down the entire number or transportation into multiple pieces to get to that number 1,000. It could differ from different people to different people. Some may not prefer to go to the car, like use the car, but we use the scenario where you want to have a car, and you want to have a decent car, and if you have a car, how much it's going to cost, and we broke down all these kind of things. So we got to this. But the important thing I want you to uh, to show you here, and it's written here, you can read yourself though. But even after a person in this scenario, if this person is making, how much money this person is making? $120,000, right? And but out of that, he's able to spend every single piece of money that he makes. So $120,000 a year is not that small amount of money. It's a lot of money. But if the person doesn't plan properly, what does he get at the end of the year? $0. He got $120,000. He spent $120,000. What does he get in the end? Nothing. Okay. Any questions or comments so far? You all are smart. When you start earning money, how would you change the situation? So if you spend all the money, you don't get anything. So what are you going to do so that you can do something better in your life, right? What can you do differently so that when you retire?
Oh, so you would just maybe not spend that much and try saving a little bit of money.
Okay. What? Right. So little money. How would you define the little money? How much do you think that you should save?
That should be
around 200,000.
No, but you're only making $120,000 in this scenario. So let's say if you're making
50,000, you should not spend.
I mean, in this scenario, I would think that trying to save $50,000 is way too much because the taxes and the rent already are going to be a lot. It takes up half of your budget.
Right.
So you only have $60,000 left, and
right.
you're saving $50,000. Then you only have $10,000 left, which is way too little for food, transportation, clothes, other expenses, and the fun travel.
Absolutely right. So, I mean, as we can see, the taxes and rent itself, you draw a line, that's why the pie chart is here. You can see that there's nothing you can do about taxes and nothing you can do about rent, right? I mean, you can own the house, but that's a different thing. But so these are your fixed expenses. You can't really control those ones. So you can't really control your fixed costs. What you can control, what can you control? There's green circle here. What is happening in this green circle? These are all other expenses. Maybe you're drinking too much of coffee. Maybe
you can control them by spending less on. Since you already have your needs, you don't need to buy that's all any more than you need to.
And just think about that. This is 100% of money you are getting. The goal could be like, okay, I want to save 5% of the money, or I want to save 10%. Then this become more realistic goal. And we also need to understand what this 5% really will give to us when we retire. So that's how we need to look at the data. Any other comments before I move to the next slide? Right? We need to set a little bit of goals. What we have done here is we set a small goal. What we have done, if you go back the previous slide, we saved $0, right? But if you compare on this slide, then we are just saving 5% of our salary. What does 5% salary mean? So we are actually saving just $500 a month, right? And it can make a huge difference. $500 a month can make a huge difference, right? And we'll break that down number further. I mean, and as I was talking last time too, when we look at the budget, we need to start breaking out these numbers. $500 a month, it's a lot of money, but we need to we can think that how much money we want to save per day, right? So we could start thinking from that point of view. But in this scenario, only thing we have changed is we reduced our other expenses, right? So what we have done, our savings, we increased to 5%, and our other expenses we reduced, right? And what it could be different thing for different people. Somebody likes to go to Starbucks 3 times a day. Is that necessary? Uh, Probably not, right? If you want to save some money for your retirement,
It should be the
you,
same as the other part. Like you shouldn't be spending that much money, $1,000, on things that you don't absolutely need, because like all your
right?
needs are in average fun travel.
Yeah.
Like
Um.
everything in average fun travel is like already
Yep,
there.
yep. You're
Clothes,
right,
transportation, and food. That's all you need.
right,
I agree with Drew because sometimes when you think you'll only think about now and you won't think about the future. So that's why we think that we can go to like Starbucks 3 times a day, every day, 24/7, because we don't think that we're gonna need to save money for the future.
right. So what we can take away from here, the saving money is really important. Now, if you save $500 a month, right? Let's translate that into what what happened, right? You saved in $500 a month, you saved $6,000 in a year. But what it really means is saving $500 uh, a month or $6,000 a year. What does it give to you? $2 million when in 40 years. If you save every year, be religious about it. Religious means that you follow it. Discipline. Sorry.
How does it get 2 million? 6,000 times 40 is like 240,000.
Perfect. You know, these savings are magical. And I will explain to you and that how it becomes from that small number to such a large number. And then that's where the magic is, right? And that's what I really want you guys to understand when you're young,
Wait,
that that money is not 500
wait, that
times 12 times 6,000 times
Mr.
40, which is only
Tomorrow.
240,000.
Wait,
Sorry.
why does it say you'll have about $2 million in your account with 8% annual interest rate? Why is there the 8% annual interest rate?
But when you save money, what do you do with the saved money, right? And now I want you to 6 and 7 to talk about that. What do you do with the save 5, 6, 7? What do you do with the saved money? Give me some example. You've saved $6,000. What will you do? You will put in your locker. Is that what you'll do, or you'll do something different with it? Yeah, you can put in a bank account. You can say put in a saving account. You can buy some land from it. You can buy stocks from it, right? The number could differ. When I put the 8% just as an example, for some people it could be 10% annual. It's some put it would be only 5%, depending upon how smart you are in saving money. If somebody wants to be the investment banker, right? And these are the things really important when you look at the stock portfolio and how the investment works. So we are assuming there 8% interest rate here, right? Uh, but what does the purpose of the 8% interest rate is when you save money every month. You're not saving annually, but you're saving every month. What you do every month, you invest that money somewhere. It could be, I mean, it's not that's not the money you want to spend on things, but you'll put in a saving account, fixed saving account, or you could put in a new house, or you can put in some kind of stocks. So there are a number of different options where you can put that money. And then money, when you put in these kind of thing, right? Let's say even if you put in a fixed deposit account, it gives you a fixed interest every year, and that fixed interest is what makes that money grow. That's the most important part of making my money grow. So now let's go to the next slide, which will actually explain you what it does it really mean. Okay. All right. So that's how we make our money grow. So this is, I mean, if you Google it, you can find out a lot of these kind of calculators. What's happening here? I mean, it didn't take $0 deposit. I wanted to put zero as deposit though, but we did, let's say, almost zero deposit. We started with nothing in that account, and we are kind of investing $600 per month. right? Where annually we are investing or saving $600 per month, and we are doing it for 40 years, right? Our plan is that we wanted to do it for 40 years. That's what our goal was. Our rate of return is 8%. You guys can play around with this number yourself, right? Uh, and and you can see how this changes. But with 8% for analysis, right? And the compounded frequency is daily, monthly, and annually, right? In a nutshell, when you make some money or you save some money, then it saving gets you interest. If you put in a fixed deposit account, the first month gives you some money. Let's say 10% interest rate. If you put $10,000, you got first month, whatever interest you get. But next month, you have your original money, or you can say principal money, and then you have the interest, which is also your money now. So now you take your your principal money, and you take your savings on interest or whatever interest you get, and that all becomes your money. And now you're not getting interest only on your main money, you're getting interest on interest. And that's called compounded interest. And that when it compounds, the magic happens. What do you see here in the diagram? You see this blue line here, right? You see this blue line? That's the money you paid, actually. If in this scenario, you ended up only paying $288,000. And this is $288,000 you paid. But what did you get in the end, right? You got in the end, you got over $2 million. How that happens? It's just because of compounded interest.
Who's
right?
providing the extra money?
Yeah, I will talk about that in the next slide. So let's hold on to this question. Okay. But few other takeaway I want you to take from here is you look at this. I mean, now we talked about saving lots of money, right? It's $600 a month, and it looks still pretty big. Now, when you start thinking about in the real life, right? And I was talking about the Starbucks coffee, right? It costs almost $5 per coffee, and if you're drinking it every day, just think about what does it really mean. So if you save $10 per month per day, right? How much money you can get for 40 years every day? You keep that discipline. What will happen?
You can get a lot of money.
This is a lot of money. What is
Yeah.
this lot of money? $10 a day is $1 million of saving when you retire. Just $10 a day means two cup of coffee, or maybe whatever unnecessary expenditure you do. So if you do that little bit of saving every day, then you can actually invest into your future. Just when you're doing things, and that's where budgeting comes in place. That you maybe at the end of the day you think, okay, or maybe you could have that discussion with your family too, that am I spending too much of money, right? Or as a family, are we spending unnecessary money? Can we put that in some kind of saving that will come handy when the parents grow older and they need more money, they need more care, and they don't want to work, they want to enjoy their life, right? So that's where $10 a day for 40 years is $1 million. You can do the calculation. $50 a day, you can save, it's 5 million. If you may want to make 100 million, how much money you need to save every day? You can do the calculation, but I'm just trying to explain, right? So just the idea again, or taking the big idea, saying, oh, $600 a month. To we need to be always able to do our calculation in a way that we can understand these simply, right? So $10 a day, $1 million, and this is again this thing is calculated by this tool automatically. You can find a lot of these kind of tools. Say that I want to save some money. What happens? And the magic you saw here, that you only invested actually your principal money. Only money that you paid was $288,000, and it became $2 million. Cool.
Yes, cool.
All right, let's go to the next slide. Right, that's where we will be able to answer some of your additional questions. Okay, let's clear that first. So let's now there were question was how can money grow, right? Who gives that money? And I use the number 10% here for simplicity of calculation. Okay. So when we say money, the first question was who gives us money, right? So there are, let's start with few few very simple example. Uh, when you take a loan from the bank, all right, you know, when your parents bought the house, they took the loan from the bank. And what happened? Like, are your parents giving some kind of loans there? Oh, sorry, interest rate?
Yeah, my parents took a loan when we bought our house.
Mm-hmm. No, everybody parents took. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah,
At least on
probably.
people on the class. So, but the point is, if you do, you know they are paying interest to the bank.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
do.
They do, right?
Yeah.
Now, how does bank get that money, right?
Yeah.
The bank is giving billions of dollars of loan to the people, right? You're buying a house, I am buying a house, you know, everybody in this class is buying a house, everybody around you is buying a house, and
So,
bank is
like
giving loan to everybody.
usually you would have to like take a loan of, let's say, $300,000 to buy
Right.
a house,
But
and over like the years that you stay in that house, you still have to pay that loan back. So
mhm,
it doesn't really matter for the bank because they're giving money, but they're also getting the same amount of money plus the interest rates.
interest rate are profit, so just keep that profit aside, right? But they're
Yeah.
giving money first. They're giving money first, right? They're getting money over a period of time. So they gave us money already.
Mhm.
We are giving them back slowly. So, so what do you need to think about it? The banking system is a pretty interesting system where not people are not just taking loans, but they are also doing the savings. So what does it mean? I go to the bank and I say, okay, bank, can you keep my money, right? Uh, I want to keep my money not in house because people, there may be a theft. So I don't want to keep, if I have $1 million, do I put the cash in my house? No. Where, what do you want to do with that money? I want to put in a bank account. And now bank needs that money, right? Because they use that money to give the loan to the people. So now they're making money by giving the loan. So what they also need to do, if I'm giving them the money, then they will give me interest back, right? So the interest is two ways. Interest is when you take the loan, you give the interest to the bank. But when you give the money to the bank, bank gives you the interest. And that's how the system works, right? So the system needs to be in equilibrium, right? So there is a bank is not printing the money, right? They're not, right? The central bank does it, that's a different thing. But the normal bank like RBC or Scotia Bank, they are not printing money. This is basically how it works. We give them the money and they give the money back to us. They are basically, you can say, a broker in a way. I'm just oversimplifying everything to explain, but that's how it works. Is like they're a broker. They take money, they give the interest to us. Uh, they give us less interest when we give them money, but when they give money to somebody else as a loan, they charge more interest, and that's how their profits are there. It's not that they have all the money. They they basically rotate the money. Okay, so that's how we get the interest. This is one simple example I gave to you guys how to make money, right? How to get the interest. But when you invest in stocks, you also make money. But how does stock work? Anybody can talk about it? How we make money when we invest in stocks? And I'm sure a lot of your parents do invest in stocks or in houses. How does these things make money? Any idea?
Yeah.
Okay.
So when my parents buy a stock, they buy it when the prices are low, and then they sell it when the prices are high.
Right. But what makes price lower and higher?
Is it the value of the company?
But
Could
why
also
would?
be like the time of year. Like candy is more
Yeah.
expensive on
Mhm.
Halloween. And like
No.
basically gifts are more expensive on Christmas.
Okay. Uh, that's one way, but not necessarily that makes much of a difference in the stock price because that's a seasonal business. Everybody knows. Every year there'll be more candy at this time.
It depends
So-
on the company's profit.
Companies profit, and most importantly, not just profit. A lot of companies make profit, but not necessarily their stock goes higher. What drives the growth in the stock market? I'm just giving you some example. These are not complete picture, but it's a very basic and high level idea. The companies who are growing, their stocks makes a lot more money, right? Example could be Amazon, where company is growing. How do you define the growth? Their number of customers are growing, number of products they are selling from their website is growing, their revenues are growing, right? And all these things are growing. We know this company is going to grow. I mean, the price has in some companies has become more than 100 times because their growth company when Amazon started was just selling the books. It had really nothing, and now you look at it's every or so many products they're selling on their website. They have cloud services. They are leader in some of these markets, and they are still growing. They keep innovating, right? What makes them money? They're trying newer products, they're getting newer customer, new markets. So that's how they grow. And what happens is then when the company grows, the stock grows, and when the stock grows, that we make money. And generally, I mean, the idea is some stock may lose money too, but overall idea is that generally market keeps growing and it keeps getting money, more and more money. So that's how we actually make more money. And the same thing in the houses. There's more people buy the houses. There are limited number of houses. The prices kept going higher and higher. So the properties that were 10 years ago were $300,000 are roughly $1 million right now in Toronto market. So sometimes the growth, if you calculate the interest, is even more than 10%. Right? Sometimes it's only just 1%. It could vary, but the idea here is to teach you number one thing. That when we are calculating simple interest, what we are doing, just we are taking $1,000, right? That's what we did here, and we multiplied 10% interest. We got $100, $100, $100. So what we did, we invested the money. We got $100. We spent that $100, right? Basically, we got $400, but we didn't grow that money at all. So if we do the savings like that, what'll happen? If we save $600 a month, we'll only save $288,000. Clean the slate. This is year one, right? This is 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yep.
Right?
Got it. Yep.
Year 1, 2, 3, 4. What happens in the first year? How much did you pay to the bank? $1,000 to save, right? Not pay. You save $1,000, and bank told you they'll give you 10% interest rate, right?
Yes.
So how much do you have at the end of the first year?
$1,100.
$1,100. Now next year, second year, what happened?
We put another $1,000 in.
And how much money did we have from the
we
previous
have
year?
Yep, 1,100.
So bank is still giving us, this numbers are wrong, okay? Bank is still giving us how much interest?
10%.
So how much interest I'm going to get second year?
210.
210. So how much money do I have? 210 interest. So that translates into
2,000.
2,000.
320.
320.
10.
310.
Yep.
Okay. Next year when I start, how much money I have?
2,310. So we'll have 3,310.
So how much interest I'm going to get this year?
331.
331.
Oh, I
So
get
how
it
much?
now.
Okay, how much money I have at the end of the year? It's
Um,
2,641. Am I right?
3,641.
Yeah, 3,641. Okay, maybe we did the calculation wrong this time. This is better. Well, this is easier. And there's a formula for it, right? We don't need to calculate just like this, what we are doing, right? So how much money do we have in the fourth year?
So we have, how much money do we? 3,641.
6,000. Sorry, can you say again?
Oh, like the interest we'll have would be $364.10.
No, 400. 400. Because this is 4,000, right? The total is 4,000 now. $4,064.10.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
See how much. So how much interest you get in 4 years by this method? You can see it's 437 to 9 and 110. It's over $1,000 already, right?
Yeah.
And in this scenario, again, this scenario I did wrong too. The first year, again, this will be 100. If you are 1,000, you're using your money. If it's a simple interest, then you get $200 next month, $300 next month, $400 next month. So at the end of this, you get 437 to 910. You only get $1,000 a year, but here you get much more, right? That you get another $100. So just saying, if you compound, you'll get more interest, and you see that your money keeps growing and keep growing and growing and growing, and that's how you only gave 288,000, but became $2 million. Make sense to all of you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Chris, are you on now? Can you follow us now?
Yeah, we can hear you now, loud and clear.
All right, all good, perfect. Okay. So, any questions on this, Chris, from your side? You're number 6, but yeah.
I mean, like we came on like a couple of minutes ago, like
Okay.
so, like yeah, like
Yeah, that's fine. This will be recorded, so if you miss some part of the session, you can follow from there.
yeah, I
Okay.
can check it later. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So now I don't want to keep doing this, but are you guys enjoying this? I mean, you're finding it helpful?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. So now a little bit work for you, right? I mean, I think these things you will actually use it. A lot of math and geometry that we may do. It's good to open up our brain, but what we are discussing right now, you're bound to use it, right? Sooner than later. So we also talked about tax slabs last time, and I know that some of you didn't completely understand the picture. So what I've done is I've created this simple sheet uh, for your analysis, right? And and these tax slabs are not reflective of what Canada government charges, right? It's not exactly one-to-one mapping. I simplify these things for so that we can do calculation. But if you look at the real numbers that the slabs that government gives, there are too many slabs, it's too complex. But let's uh, not worry about that. But let's at least understand the basic concept
question.
around tax slab. Yeah, go ahead.
Why does it say 50 to 10K? Like, why does it go like 50K
Yeah,
to 10K? Is that a typo?
yeah, good catch. Yeah, it's a typo. It's 100K. Yeah, 50 to 100K. Okay. Now I want you guys to help me calculate. We'll start with one person, and the people who are not speaking much, we'll start with them. So let's start with number 4. Okay. If your salary is 80K, and how would we calculate the total tax, and what would be the average tax? Okay, let's talk about how will we calculate the tax. If our salary is 80K and these are the slabs, 10 to 10 to 50K, they're 20% interest. And normally, why you didn't put 0 to 10K? Because what happens is everybody gets the personal exemption. So most countries, they don't charge you any tax for some amount. So in Canada, it's around 10,000. That's why he said, okay, for 10,000, there is no tax. 10 to 15,000, there's 20% tax. 50 to 100, there's 30% tax. Okay. So now, number 4, help me calculate that, right? How do I calculate that, right? What goes into this column here?
I'm not sure.
As you make more money, your tax rate changes. Okay. So from 10 to 50, 0 to 10K, you are not paying any money. So I should have added that column. But right now, assume there is 0. But 10 to 50,000, you're paying 20% money. So if your salary is 80K, right? So which slab it comes under, right? So it'll be here. If 80K is the salary, and it'll be here, right? Make sense? But it will not be in the third one because you're not salary in the range of 100 to 150K. It's below 100K. So your salary in the first bracket and the second bracket only. So far, do you understand?
Yeah.
Okay. So now the way we calculate these numbers is because in the first lab, how much money this guy is in, because salary is 80K. So how much part of the slab he will be paying the tax on? So if his money is 80K, so he'll be using the complete slab, right? Its slab is 40K. So he'll be paying the interest on like entire 40K. Okay, because his salary is 80. And now his salary is 80K, and now he's not using from 50 to 100K entire money. So he's using from 50 to 80 only. So how much money like tax he's going to pay in this slab? For 30K only. So he'll be paying, what does it really mean? For 40K, the entire slab of 10 to 50, he pays 20% interest rate, right? So on 40K, how much interest he pays? 20% interest rate. So what is 20% of $40,000? 20 divided by 100 is how much?
0.2.
Right?
0.2.
0.2. And then you multiply that 120% interest rate with 40K. So what, $40,000? Not 4,000, 40,000. How much you get? 8K, right? So on the first 40,000, you paid $8,000. And next 30,000, because your salary is only up to 80,000, because you're only paying tax on 30K. How much tax you pay on this portion of the bracket? What's the interest rate here for second bracket?
30 percent.
30.
30?
We have 40 for the first one. Shouldn't we be having 50?
Sorry?
Sorry, can you say it again?
Why do we have 40K on the first tax slab? Shouldn't we be having 50?
Oh, this is just for calculation, right? I'm just saying this, if this is the tax slab, what will you do? Because tax slab here is 30%, right? Then what will be the total tax?
No, it says tax on 80K and you're doing 40K and 30K.
Oh, yeah. So that's how slab work. Okay. So now these are the slabs. When the first 0 to 10,000 you paid no interest, right? 0 to 10 is $0. Let me write. Right? Do you understand?
Yeah.
And then 10 to 0 to 10, 0 tax rate, 0. 10 to 50.
Shouldn't the second one be 9K?
That's right. 30% of 30K is 9K, right? So 30% is nothing but 0.3, right? And 0.3 is times 30,000 is 9,000. Okay.
After that, shouldn't it be like when you're adding 10, it should be just like, so for the next one it would be 10K, and then for
no, but For this person, no, we won't, like this person, like if the salary is 80K, he won't be paying any more tax, right?
Yeah, he won't be paying any more tax because he can only go up to the first two slabs.
Right. So because his salary is 40K, the 10K is here, right? First is 10K, and then 40K and 30K. That's how slabs. So the first slab is 10K, he paid 0 interest. There's no interest. Second slab is 40K, he paid 8K. Third slab is 30K, he paid 9K. Okay. So number 4, is that clear to you, or do you have question?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's clear. It's clear.
It's good. So total tax is how much?
17K.
So what is the average tax? Who can calculate it for me?
I can. Wouldn't that be
Okay.
8.5K? Yeah, 8.5.
What does average really means? Can somebody explain to me? Okay, let's see. Now we have
Average
number 6.
means
Number 6 and 7, I didn't hear from them. Okay, it's number 7. He didn't speak at all. Number 7, go ahead.
So average means like middle number between two other numbers. So 9 plus 8 is equal to 17K, and if you divide by 2, then it would be 8.5K, and that's the middle number between 8 and 9.
Okay, anybody else?
So I think so that was the median. Average is usually a mean, so it would be like adding all of the numbers and dividing it by the number of numbers.
Mm-hmm. So
It's
what
usually
is
talking about the mean.
Did we added the number? Perfect, you said it right. So we total interest we paid is 17K. What do we need to divide it by to get the average? What do we need to divide it by?
I actually don't know because I actually left for about 2 minutes and came
Okay.
back, so I wasn't
So
here for
anybody
a second.
else can tell me what do we need to divide it by to get the average?
the amount of numbers there are currently.
Okay.
Yeah, so wouldn't that be
Yeah.
Yeah, I need just one number. Let's see who can tell me that number.
The average?
No, we need to divide that total interest is 17K. But in order to find out the average, we need to divide it by some number. What is that number?
Divide by 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
80.
No, 80K. That's our number. Our total salary was how much? 80,000.
Yeah.
So that's our average. 17 divided by 80 times 100, which is roughly around 21%, 21 point some percent. Do you understand, guys, why?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it, man.
yes, because our total salary was $80,000. We paid 17,000 of interest. There are slabs. Slabs kind of confuse us. We paid 8,000 here, 9,000 here, but ultimately we paid $17,000 from our packet. Our salary was 80K, so ultimately it's 17K divided by 80K, multiply 100. So that's the kind of
And we multiply by
interest
100 to get the percentage, right?
percentage. Yeah, right. All clear, folks? If you have questions, do ask me. Okay, let's do another one just to make sure you're on the same page. Okay, number 6. Yeah. Again, first I'll fill some information. I'll say from 0 to 10K, our interest is 0. Now we know 10 to 50K because the 130 is more than this number, right? So it definitely falls into 10 to 50K. This is the how much we made, 40K. How much interest we paid here? 8K, we know that. Okay, what goes into the third column now? Number 6.
Would you multiply how much, like, so like, for example, wait, one second.
So again, remember what we are doing. In this bracket, how much did we make? Right? In this bracket, 50 to 100K, The salary is more than that or less than that?
Less than.
No, this is salary is 130K. And
Oh,
this
yeah,
bracket is only it's more
Yeah.
than that. So if the salary is more than that, we need to use sorry, a partial bracket or the full bracket. Because salary is 130K, we need to use the full bracket here, right? Which is 50K. Make sense?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, are you clear or you're saying yes, yeah?
Yeah. I understand that.
Okay, good. So idea is if your salary, you stop, you keep going from here. If you stop where the band, your salary is in the bracket where you need to be, right? So it's 130. So it's in this bracket needs to stop, right? So in the first bracket, use the entire 10K. Second bracket is like 40K. Third bracket is going to use the entire 50K. Fourth bracket is how much? Its salary is 30K. So it's not going to use the complete bracket. It's only going to use 30K because it's consumed from 0 to 100K already. And then it's consumed, the final bracket consumes another 30K. Okay. Yep. Thank you for helping me. Okay. So in the 30K, our interest rate is 40. On the third or fourth bracket, our interest is 40%. 40% of 32 is 12K. Is that clear to you guys?
Yep.
So that's how we calculate. We go slab by slab. We just calculate it so that our total interest here is around 35K, right? Okay. And what's the average tax? How do we calculate the average tax? 35K divided by what?
130.
130K.
130.
Multiply that by 100.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how much, what is the percentage now? Roughly, tell me. Times 100. Who is going to tell me quickly?
Would that be like 26%?
Yeah, roughly 20.
About 27%.
Yeah,
Around
about
27.
27.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I hope
it's
you all
eventually-
use your mind. Okay. All right. So you see what happened now? Your average tax jumped from 21% to 27%. As your salary is going higher, your average tax rate is going higher too. Now, third example, I'll do quickly again, right, just to finish it up. So first K, we know that first brackets we know it's going to be 8K because we already used the full bracket. Third bracket, now we use 50K, 50% of, because now salary is 250. So we are going to use all 50, okay, or in this bracket as 40%, so that'll be 20K, right? And the final bracket is, how much is the final bracket? You will use in this 150, 150 to 2. I did a kind of mistake. Yeah, that's correct. 50K, I calculated for 40%. Now 150 to 200,000, how much? 50, another 50,000, we are paying 45% tax. How much is going to, this is going to
Yeah, 22.5K.
22.5K, and that start becoming crazy. And then after that, then our 200 to 250K, we pay 50% tax. So in this bracket, 50, so the 25K. All right, thank you for helping. So total is how much? I mean, again, we don't need to do all the calculation, but you get the idea. Now what's going to happen, our average tax will increase around, 35% or maybe even more than that. We could do a quick calculation here. Yeah, somebody's calculating. So tell me how much is the total. Let's see who goes faster. And the trick, I will say that we try to map 25 and 50, 40, right? 40 plus 20, 60. 28 and 8 is 30, right? So we got 60, 92.5. It's easier, right? If you, so these are some of the tricks.
92.5. No, that's not the average tax.
No, not average, but this, yeah, let me clear it. I know. Okay, this 90, Select the pen again, 92.5, right? And now our salary was 250. So what's the average tax now? Who's going to tell me the average tax?
37% exact.
Yeah.
37. All right. So you see, as our salary is increasing, our average tax is increasing. But the important thing, I want you to get comfortable with the tax slabs when it comes up. It's just sometimes you say you go from here to there, this, and when you do the shopping, sometimes you say that if you buy 3, you'll get 40% discount. If 4, you get more discount. And 6, you get more discount. And that's how you use the slabs. Okay. We are good with that. Can I move to geometry now?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's have some fun with geometry. All right. Let's have fun with some question. All right. So what we need to do, this is the kind of a
Wait,
little bit of practical.
Where's the diagram?
Yeah, the diagram is coming. It's magic. All right. So the problem here is that you start at point A and you need to go to the point B. But
Do you have to
your
touch
point,
line C?
yeah, you need to. This line C is Steele's Avenue, right? The Steele's Avenue where I live. You need to make sure that you touch the street I live on and you go to point B, right? So that's what you need to do. So these are the distances between these. All right. So you need to touch point C and you need to get to, you need to touch the line, the Steele's Avenue, which are, and perpendicular distance between A and the Steele's is 2 kilometer, B and C is 2 kilometer. It's basically the point in the same line. And then distance between A and B itself is 3 kilometer. So you need to go from A to B, but you need to travel the least amount of distance. Okay, that's it's a very easy question if you understand the logic. If not, then let's open up our brain a little bit and try to find out how do we. If you know the answer already, then just hold on. Let's let everybody think. Okay, if you do not know the answer already, then you can speak. I'm just telling everybody. Okay, and let's give turn to everybody. So you're saying something. Go ahead.
What I'm thinking is, I don't know the answer, but I'm looking at the problem, and whenever a problem asks for of 2 values added together, I usually think that we can't find the values on their own. We have to find them added together immediately. I don't think we can find A or B, but we can find A and B added together.
Yeah, that's correct. That's very correct. But here the thing is, we want to find the shortest distance or minimum value of A plus B. How would you find something like that? Anybody has any clue?
I think the answer is 6.25, the square root of 6.25.
Okay.
How did you get that?
No, let's, guys, just hold on. Let's go by process, right? Let's not jump to the answer. Let's talk about how we do the problem, right? So let me ask, this is kind of tricky. So let me see. Anybody else has any input? Let's not talk about the answer. Let's talk about what's the process? How do we think about solving this problem? It's not that difficult, really. It's just about thinking that, that's where I want to enable your brain, that how would you think about solving the problem? What comes to your mind when we are talking about minimum distance? What comes to your mind? Anybody? Okay.
Straight line?
The minimum distance from one point to the other.
Wouldn't that just be a straight line?
No, let's not talk over each other. Let's respect what other person is saying. Okay. So yeah, go ahead. You were saying something. You means number one.
Minimum would be, I think, whenever someone says minimum, that means the smallest that smallest possible way there is between 2 points.
So what is the minimum between 2 points?
It's
Okay.
That's the definition I gave.
All right. Okay. Anybody else? You go ahead if you were saying something.
Great. Can I go?
Go. Yeah.
I think it would just be a straight line between the 2 points themselves.
Okay. No, but they need to touch C, right? That's the condition.
Yeah. Why can't we just ignore C for now? Like make it an easier problem, and then we can add C back in.
Yeah. Yeah. If you make it simple, you guys don't need me, right? So, okay.
I think the line from A to C and C to B should be the same.
Right. Okay. Okay. So now let me start giving you some hint, right? What's the minimum distance between the 2 points? And you guys already said it is a straight line. Now think about it. You need to go to A to B through C. How can you draw a straight line between A, B, and C?
Wait.
And there is a
that doesn't a reflection keep the distance from the line the same?
Okay, that's one idea. Anybody else agrees with them or a different idea? Just hold on.
Point A to point C should be the same as point C to point B.
Not necessarily. That's the idea. The logic you need to stay with is the distance between 2 points. The minimum distance between 2 points is a straight line, right? Now you need to draw that straight line which goes through C and goes to B. How can you draw that line, right? And just saying that, okay, we could probably think about reflection and that could be one method. Anybody, what do you guys think?
I agree with Ansh.
Okay. All right. So let's do some magic then, right? So that's true that distance between 2 points is a straight line. Now, there's a technique called transformation. So not every time we see the problem the way it appears, right? Sometimes we need to twist the problem a little bit, right? That's why it's kind of, brain teasers. So what we could do with these lines, go ahead.
So I'm just having a quick question because I have an idea. It's just one thing I'm not sure of. If you reflect a point over a line, does the distance from the point to the line remain the same?
Yeah, let's see. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay. So now what do you see? And that's concept. If you haven't done any problem like that, it may look a little crazy, but we'll be doing, and a lot of competition, math competition, even otherwise, you'll see these kind of problem a lot, right? So basically, distance between A to B, minimum distance between A to B, going through that Steele's Avenue is going to be the straight line. So what you do, just reflect B, right? What we have done here. So what we have done is we did this reflection, we reflected it here all the way, right? And when we did it, 2 kilometers, 2 kilometers. So this is a straight line. Now, any questions, folks? Does it make sense, or anybody think that it's not?
Yeah, I think it makes sense.
It makes sense?
Yeah.
Anybody else on the call?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, then if it makes sense to everybody, then I get. So now, if you complete the picture, let me remove what I drawn here. Okay, if we go next one level up, see, this line is just not, if you really think about it now, you created the straight line. That's the shortest distance between these 2 points. And now C to B is the same thing. So that's the shortest path you can get between these 2 points.
And we can figure out A plus B using the Pythagorean theorem. We have from A to B, it would be 3 kilometers. From B to B prime is 4 kilometers. And we know that B prime is a right angle. So A to B prime, or A plus B, would be equal to the square root of 3 squared plus 4 squared, or 5.
So that's right. that's what the answer is going to look like, right? A plus B is nothing but, because it's a reflection, C to B or C to B prime is same thing. And trigonometry, and I mean, I'm assuming all of you know the Pythagorean theorem, right? If anybody doesn't know, let me know. I can explain to you guys separately. So all of you understand that Pythagorean theorem, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So what it means is that when you have this right angle, this is A to B, this is right angle. So A square, basically what happens is your diagonal is under root of A squared plus B squared. So A to B and B to B prime, right? A to B is, or B to B prime is 4 squared and A to B is 3 squared. We take the under root, becomes 5 kilometers. Good? Remember this concept because it may not apply directly, but indirectly it will apply to the next problem. So can I go to the next problem now?
Yes, please. Yeah.
All right. Okay, this is a pretty interesting problem. Okay. What we need to do is we need to find x here in this problem. What we want to do is we want to find x, and all side lengths are given to you guys. And now, what would you do in this problem? Let's hear from the people who didn't speak so far. So number 7, what do you think we could do?
So what I was thinking was that you see the 4 and the 3 at the bottom. We could do a Pythagorean theorem with that, and we could find the side, the unknown side, and that would be 5. And then you see the 4 on the side. You could, how do I explain? I can't really explain it because, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The drawing.
Yeah.
Wait, can I try explaining?
No, not yet. Just hold on. I want to give chance to everybody. So, okay, Aryan, you gave it a try. There's one. Just think a little harder, right? And there's a technique called transformation we applied in the last problem. We transformed something. So what you see on the screen is, don't limit yourself to that. What you see on the screen, you can move things around a little bit to solve your problem. Yeah, just hold on. It's not your turn yet. I want everybody to think before you speak. So
we can this triangle. You can see a triangle with the side length 3, 4, and then you can flip that, and then flip it again, and then you can create a big triangle with that.
Okay. So what do you mean? I flip means I make this triangle like this?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you can rotate it and create another triangle. Rotate it.
Okay. All right. That's another way of looking at it. Anybody else has any thoughts? Who should we go to?
Me.
Okay, not you. Number 5 and number 4.
I feel like I'm wrong. I don't know, but we could try to think of it as like a basic shape, like a basic quadrilateral, like a rectangle. So if we like move 5 a little to the right, and we kind of think of it as 4, and then we move one of the units down, and we try to like think of it as a rectangle, because I feel like those are easier to work with, and then we kind of like.
Wait, I think you're actually right on that.
Okay.
Oh really? Really? I thought it was wrong.
No. Oh no, I think ideas, what we are trying to do is to generate ideas, right? There's nothing right and wrong, but it's about understanding each other's perspective and how, and there's no one solution for these kind of problems. All math problems has infinite number of solutions.
I think there's another way to solve this question.
Yeah, we all have different ways.
Yeah, right. So now, I mean, in the interest of time, I'll talk about the solution that I thought about. Go ahead if anybody has. So first thing I wanted to do was I wanted to just color code this. Right? It makes life much simpler. right? I mean, we see one color, we look at one thing. And whenever I ask people to do math and I talk, then I always say that use many color pencil. When especially when you're dealing with the geometry, use colors, and colors make our life much simpler. It makes it easier to look at the problem differently. When you use one color, everything looks equal. When you have many colors, we start seeing some more pattern that we don't see, right? And I think somebody already said the answer that I'm going to lead towards. But first thing we do is like we try to look at these different colors. And now what we can see the transformation. So what does transformation means, right? What you could do, you can think about it. We don't want to, it's a geometry. There are certain things that are allowed. For example, what we really need to find out is BC. That's what we want to do, right? And now question is, how do we find out that BC? That's what our goal is, because the goal is we cannot find X directly. In order for us to get to X, we need to find BC. Now, once you think that way, right, you start drawing that and you start feeling now, okay, we have something to work. Now, I know that you wanted to say something, so go ahead. What do you wanted to say?
No, just I had a different way of solving it.
Okay. So now I will quickly talk about the solution, right? The fun solution. So what you need to do now, you see that. Now you need to really find BC. And once you find out BC, you can easily figure out, X. But if you try to find that any other way, it's very difficult. So now you look at it, what we could do, we can take that green line, right? And we can slide that line because it's a perpendicular line. If we slide it just like that, right? It's just fine. We didn't break any rules. It's the rules of math. We still keep the line. We just you slid that line, right? And we can also, because it's a perpendicular line, if we go up and down, it's fine. And we can slide this line, the blue line, this way. Okay. And some of you said things closer to this one. But what you're seeing is just by looking at the problem in this way, you can slide things around. I mean, let me go back just to explain. This is what we had, right? And we need to find BC. So what we did, we really moved this line, the green line, to the bottom, and the blue line to the left. So now, if you want to calculate the distance, I mean, calculating before BC was very difficult. But what do you think? Can you calculate BC now easily?
You don't even need to calculate BC.
Right? So it'll tell us BC. What is BC? What is distance between green or orange line? Is 8. And the blue line is, because it's a 90-degree angle, so BC is basically it's diagonal. This is diagonal, and which is going to be 8 square plus 4 square. Everybody's on the same page with me? Everybody understand?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
all good, folks? Now, one thing I also want to teach, I mean, as I go along, I also try to teach you some of the simple math technique. One of the thing that we always try to do is to try to simplify that. Now we could add up 8 square plus 4 square, right? And we get some kind of number like 80, right? But sometimes we need to think it's an intermediary step. We could solve that, but is it really necessary to solve it? Because we need to find X. We are not here to find BC. So many times we solve that number, we get to the 80 and we realize, oops, we need to do more work. So now we need to find X. What is X going to be? But what is the value of X in terms of A, B, C, D? So X is going to be equal to, okay, don't erase.
Can I see?
Okay, X equal to, oh, you already wrote X. That's why. Okay. Let me erase and try again. Okay. X equal to
X.
under root of BC square minus AB square. Do you agree, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So now that's what we need to calculate, right? And you go there, that's what it is. Now, if you solved it, everything, then you need to unsolve it. Sometimes, we need to think that sometimes we oversolve the problem, undersolve the problem. What you see magically happening here, that 4 square and 4 square got cancelled by you could do that, but I'm just saying if we think ahead of time, we don't even need to do that. We are lazy. 4 square minus 4 square got cancelled. What is left is a square, which is 8. That's the
But
perfect answer.
why couldn't we have just used congruent triangles?
No, you could do that. As we were saying before,
We know that the two triangles are congruent by SSS congruency, so we would know that AC would be equal to C, and then if we
right. You're absolutely right. Right. And then, as I was saying before, there are millions of ways of solving, or infinite number of solving these problems. So what you're saying is another way, but not everybody understand those rules. So we should probably revisit those in our class. So, but this question is all you guys are good with this? Can I clear this?
Yeah.
All right. So are you having fun with these problems?
Yeah.
Yeah. As you can see, it looks difficult, but solution is easy, once we understand how to do it. I'll give you one more problem. This is from one of the tests, if you guys have done that, or assignment that were given to you guys. And it's a very, very interesting problem. Why is geometry so tough? It looks so damn tough. We need to find, what do we need to find in this? A and C, they have given the dimensions. A and C, this line here is, okay, let me use pen. The A to C is basically 6. D to C is also 6. This is a right angle triangle. We know that. They are saying the gray bars, and on what is happening is they are cutting these every line into by midpoint. B is the midpoint of AC, and D is the midpoint of GC, and they keep cutting that line, and then they keep getting these gray areas, gray triangles, or black triangles, you could say. And they're asking, what is the area, what is the total area of the shaded triangle, which is the gray, black triangle? How would you do that kind of problem? Any thoughts?
I have a thought.
Okay.
What I'm thinking is, I'm looking at this triangle, and since we know that B is since we know that B, D, and J are the midpoints, well, first I'm just gonna ignore point J. I'm just gonna look at points B and D, and I'm gonna look at that triangle they create, BDC, and that is shaded. Since D is the midpoint of GC and B is the midpoint of AC, I'm like, the triangle. So BC is half of AC, and DC is half of GC. And when we're calculating the area of the triangle, it would be the base times the height divided by 2. So if we look at this in terms of the original triangle, then we could see that BDC is a quarter of the area of AGC.
Okay, but I hope you read that there are not just 3 of these triangles, there are 100 of these.
Yeah, I wasn't finished explaining.
Okay.
And then we continue this process, and so let's look at the new triangle KDE. Since K is the midpoint of JD, and JD is equal to BC, as we create a square here,
right,
or rectangle, we don't know. Then we have KD is half of BC, and when we have ED is also half of DC. So we have EDK is a quarter.
Okay.
Quarter of the area BD.
So let me take others' input. I get what you're saying, okay? Just think about it. You're 90% correct, you're 10% wrong. Okay, we'll come back to you. But let's see, anybody else? How would you, first of all, without trying to really get to the numbers are not important. I mean, we need to visualize this problem and see that there is a little tiny trick in it that helps us solve this problem. And I mean, the previous person who was talking about it kind of hinted at it, but in a little more complex type fashion. But do you see something, some pattern, simple pattern here? Any one of you see some kind of
Yeah.
pattern?
So basically, it's just doubling up in height. So technically, first we would just have to. So since the width and length are 6 for the triangle, you would have to. How do I explain this? So you would basically divide the 4 triangles on the right hand side with 6.
Okay.
Yeah. Wait.
Okay, let's see if anybody else has ideas. Anybody else has any other idea?
We can figure out how much of the black triangles, or how much, what percentage or fraction of the whole triangle is shaded by black.
Mm-hmm. That's what we want to find. That's one way of doing it. Yeah, yeah. But how do you find out what percent?
So the triangle GHF, that's like 1 something, and then if you think about it, if it's into a bigger triangle, GIE, which is equivalent to the triangle KED, and then like
Okay.
a couple more of that is a TCB, DCB.
Okay. Okay. What number 6, number 7, 4, 5? Anybody want to add to that? All right. So let me. I mean, you guys can keep thinking. Yeah. Okay.
Wait, I
Yeah.
have one last idea, Dad.
Okay.
I have one
Now
last idea.
I'll go ahead.
So basically what I'm thinking is I decide to look at what's below line JD. And I think so I see 3 triangles, JAB, JBD, and DBC.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at these triangles and they all seem to be the same.
Right.
So I want to see. So if we can prove these are congruent, then that would mean that if this we know that this pattern is going to keep on continuing. So if we prove that this is 1/3 of this, if we prove that BDC is 1/3 of the whole entire area, is 1/3 of the area of AJBC, then because this pattern is going to repeat, we can prove that the shaded area will be 1/3 of the triangle AGC.
Good. Now you're kind of getting towards the answer. Okay. So let me take it from here to explain to everybody. Now what we did, I mean, I want everybody to see that when we are looking at the picture, we didn't, we are trying to visualize the problem. Now what I did, I just draw these simple dotted lines here, right? So an idea is that as or all these dotted lines, and the distance between them becomes half and half and half, but it doesn't really matter, right? Because what we are looking at each part, look at each part independently, right? I mean, there will be 100 of those parts. But just look at each of these parts between the 2 lines, right? The first line is actually at the bottom. I should have drawn it too. So you go this dotted line here and this line. Between these 2 lines, what do you see, right? What do you see is between 2 lines, you see 3 triangles. Between every 2 lines, what do you see? 3 triangles. Exactly 3 triangles between 2 lines, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And now you look at these triangles, you look at that all 3 triangles are really same. Why? Because all 3 have, 3, 3, I mean, all are basically isosceles right angle triangle. So 3 and 3, and they have 2 sides, 3, 3, and there's 90 degrees. So this is a square which are cutting. So it's saying 3, 3, so all 3 triangles are exactly same. So basically, if you look into any of these parts, you can have very complex solution. There are, you can apply. There are many methods of doing it. A lot of, if you give it to some high school kid, he'll probably spend, really give you a cool solution after spending 30 minutes doing it. But we are not high school kids. We are smart kids, right? We don't need to spend half an hour. We need to spend a couple of
5
minutes
minutes.
to solve it. What we need to really think is we need to visualize the problem. We need to see these lines that are not there, but we need to see in our brain, these are lines. And once we start seeing these lines, what happens? What do you see? Is these are three triangles. In every two lines have exactly three triangles which are same, and only 1/3 of it is black. So what does it tell? That the first line, what is the black portion, is 1/3. What is the second line? 1/3. Third line is 1/3, right? So basically, if you want to know the sum of all the black portion, what is it? Is 1/3 of area. My
Of the whole
excuse me
rectangle.
for yeah.
So
Uh,
basically, but that would only
one.
work if the triangle was continuing infinitely. But
Yeah, I
we
mean the 100 is almost infinite
let's
in this
say
case.
basically a third, because they're just rounding.
Right. So what I'm doing is 3 centimeters, 6 centimeters. I only drawn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 line. You can't even see the top line. And now you need to compress 100 in it. Sometimes infinity is a relative term, right? Infinity doesn't mean that something is far, 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 far away. Infinity is a very relative term. It's sometimes we need to use it cautiously, right? In this case, uh, infinity. I mean, you can only see I'm drawn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 line, and it's like after that how much it's done. And now in the remaining space, you try to compress 95 more lines, right? So it's basically negligible area to begin with. So now area of the triangle is, how do we calculate the area of the triangle? Is half base time height. Base is 6, height is 6, right? 6 times 6. So what's the area? Is 6. So what's the area of the black portion? 6. That's it.
Yep.
Cool.
Finished.
All right. Okay. So I know we are already 50 minutes behind. I mean, I hope you guys didn't mind me going over. I was so excited I didn't even notice the time. We have a lot more problems to do if you are interested, but we could do it next time. Okay. Let's stop the class now. But uh, did you guys enjoy it so far?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
You learned some new tricks.
Yep.
And I have
Yep.
two questions. Other than the assignment problems that you need to do, I mean, these are I've assigned everybody an assignment. I know Ishan, that'll be too tough for you, so don't do that. Don't let your brother do this one. I'll assign a different one in your brother's name, or you can create your separate account. I'll give you a little simpler one because I don't want you to do those problems. It's too tough for you for now. Okay, so okay.
The geometry.
Sorry.
I kind of understood the geometry.
That's good. I mean, yeah. If you join few of these classes, then you will, you'll rock in geometry.
Yeah.
Okay, so I hope you continue to join. So what I wanted to say, this problem, right? It's just think about it, how to solve it. It's like we need to get X and Y. It's not that it's if you know how to solve the equation, think how to solve the equation. It looks very complex, but it's not. Just think how will you solve it. I'll start with this problem next time, but I want you to think. If you can't solve, it's fine, but at least think. Okay. And there's one more problem, right? I'll post this again. Try to do these two problems before you join the next class. These are again a little bit brain teasers. Okay. All right. Finally, I want to thank you all, you awesome people. I mean, I really enjoy taking this class just because of you. You all are really good. And if you anytime you have question, you can always ask me. And more importantly, in the classroom, help each other. Post your question. You can use the classroom to ask questions. Say, I don't understand this. I need help here. And you all can help each other, right? Think like your community. I'm trying to help you guys, but I have full-time job too, right? And I'm still trying to help you. Now you can help each other. You can ask question to each other. Say, okay, I need help here. We don't feel shy in learning. We should always be open to learn. I'm always open to learn, even at this age, right? I'm always learning. I'm learning from you guys, learning from the kind of question you ask. Every new second class I try to do, I try to improvise because I learned from the previous class. So same thing, you should try to help each other, right? And don't feel shy in asking if you don't understand anything. We are all, learning, and there's nothing right and wrong. So just keep learning, keep helping each other. Okay. All right. Thank you, folks, and have a nice weekend. I will talk to you next week.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks.